And we are live here with some CCA Division 2 action featuring the Seminole Cephalopods Garnet out of Florida State University against Daybreak representing the University of Texas, Austin. My name is Spicy and I am joined on the mic by SPF Dark. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing quite alright. I'm very excited to see this matchup. Already, having seen Daybreak a few times already this season, I'm very excited to see exactly how they're going to be playing out tonight. But a few things about scoring. In terms of the current season, Seminole Garnet is standing currently at a 4-0 record versus Daybreak's 2-2. So Daybreak don't really have too much in line here, but if they do end up getting this win here, it could at least up their chances a little bit into making going on to our bracket series to this later on in the season.
Yeah, exactly. And at this point, there's like Seminole Cephalopods. The FSU is basically just playing for the perfect regular season at this point. Momentum going into playoffs because their spot's locked in. Daybreak has a much more complicated situation, I think. I don't actually know if they have a pathway in, but you want to win anyway, especially in this week, just to give yourself a shot. Going 2-3 is basically going to guarantee elimination, I would think, at this point. But even if you have a chance to go in, or even just playing for a positive record to end your season, that's basically what we're going to be seeing from both these teams here. I'm excited to finally get into it. It's a rescheduled match from week 1, if I remember right. So we are going to be starting off on like Spot Zone's Robo Ramen.
Week 1 matches, Robo Ramen. I even remember this set, my week 1 set. Very excited to set. The kickoff set actually for this season. So I'm like replaying like some of the memories on this from this map series in my head right now. And Robo Ramen definitely was one of the more exciting ones. There's so many flank routes you can go through. I am a very big fan of this map with just the underground routing you can go to get behind the enemies, as well as just the relatively like decent like long sightlines from the above ground as well. There's like a lot of weapon routes that you can actually like pull out and like actually like pretty much make work really well. So I'm very excited to see exactly what these players are going to be bringing, especially with a new patch coming out just earlier this week.
Oh yeah, I'm interested to see how the patch is going to shake up things. And we are going to get a look at these weapon comps. I think the first thing we have to mention is that from the side of FSU, there is the Octobush, Alex, with the Octobrush Nouveau with Respawn Punisher. I remember hearing about this in the scouting report beforehand and not knowing exactly what we're talking about, what we're happening. They sadly are already down in the first 15 seconds as these teams are fighting off in mid, trying to get a hold of the zone early. Daybreak does take hold of it, at least first off now. Gonna see how long they're gonna be able to hold it for.
Already after a great start by Daybreak, they're slowly pushing Garnet back bit by bit, just taking a series of fights. Daybreak, one player going down on their side, remaining Garnet has the advantage right now to try and eventually try and push Daybreak out, and it looks like they eventually do that, not but at the cost to their own teammates, as right now things are standing back at the standstill. These teams are actually going at it pretty neck and neck, not taking the scoring so far.
Yeah, FSU is going to be able to take control of the zone now and take the lead for a bit now. But Daybreak does once again have control of the zone and are able to see if they're going to be able to push up. I just noticed there's a Clash Blaster being played right now from Daybreak, and what is happening in terms of these meta comps? Basically, the new patch has really made some things come out. We do see Alex on the Octobrush Nouveau getting that double with that Zipcaster. Love to see that action, and because of the Respawn Punisher, that's even more damaging than it normally is.
Respawn Punisher on the front line is not something you would probably want to run, considering how often you would be dying. But if you just don't die, that heavy penalty on you isn't as effective as it is if you just constantly get KO after KO. But it looks like right now Garnet has looks like they had a very strong opening push and barely taking lead. Daybreak are now trying to recuperate, get the specials online to try and retake this zone. And looks like they are contesting zone right now, but it's not enough as Garnet holds strong.
With Garnet holding strong, once again having control of the zone once again, and then two people going down from the side of FSU is going to lead to Daybreak being able to position up more and really push the situation. Heartbreak now going to be able to get that extra pick as well, and this is a good spot now for Daybreak, being able to have control of the zone, work their way out of this penalty, and see how much farther they're going to be able to keep on going here as FSU does try to make their way back in, and the strikes coming out. Gotta see if that's gonna be able to be enough to at least neutralize the zone and maybe lead to them taking advantage of in the future.
But the zone didn't quite just cap yet for Garnet, as Daybreak are still keeping the pressure on with the 10 missiles coming from the Flingza. Just a good range from Pencil and just the constant painting output from their team. They're struggling. Garnet's struggling to try and go in, and with 2 of the players down, it might be just what they need. As 3 go down for Daybreak, Garnet now has the momentum going in their favor, and they're pushing Daybreak back further and further. As now with that technical, that's very dangerous from that dreaded Respawn Punisher Octobrush.
Oh my god, and they're in Zipcaster now as well. And actually, Alex going for this flank here is going to get punished though. Not exactly the right positioning they were hoping for, sadly. But FSU still has control of the zone, which is going to be very helpful for them here as they work their way out of the penalty. Strikes once again coming out to keep up this painting support as the zone went briefly back into neutral, then now back in favor of FSU. This is at least going to be able to buy them some time, but as 2 people go down here, and this Flingza is doing so much work for the side of Daybreak. Now their side is going to be going 2 down. It's a really tight match so far with 90 seconds to go. Strikes once again coming out, and those Tentas also. This could be potentially a very much a down-to-the-wire situation as FSU loses control of the zone now.
Down to the wire might be, even though Garnet has the 4-0 record right now. Daybreak, they definitely want to try and at least knock their opponents off at least by 1 match. And right now they're putting up one hell of a fight, playing very aggressively, keeping Garnet unable to recuperate properly as they're constantly taking point back over and over again. That Octopus going in, but not getting the pick that they need. And with 10 of us going out, this looks like it could be very dangerous for Garnet.
Oh yeah, and they're getting extra picks off of these Tentas as well, and it's being really good for Daybreak right now as they have found themselves in the advantage with 40 seconds to go. A member on each side being down at this point too. The rain also coming out in favor of Daybreak. Alex now once again has the Zipcaster, and that does lead to FSU taking control of the zone. And this flank with the Zipcaster is going to find 1. Gonna see if they're gonna be able to find some more, but this is a good 2-down situation in favor of FSU. Now this is a great opportunity for them because you're seeing them getting able to make a lot of these picks happen. And now with 15 seconds to go, this could be exactly what we're looking for as they look like they might be able to work their way out of their penalty.
One thing to know about Respawn Punisher that some people might forget sometimes is the fact that not only do you have an extended respawn period, you also lose more special than you normally do, which might be integral here since Daybreak have less special to work with, and right now they're trying to contest the zone, and with a load of specials right now, they just can't take it in time! Garnet taking that first game of this set!
What a comeback for FSU. Garnet was able, they were down for quite a lot of that, and they had to work their way out of that penalty with less than a minute to go. Amazing stuff, and the Respawn Punisher is actually putting in quite a difference here, especially when you consider, like, Daybreak wasn't running a tactical, or if I remember right. So it's like, Respawn Punisher really does a lot here to make things punishing for Daybreak. So I can't believe we really just witnessed Octobrush Nouveau Respawn Punisher against a Clash Blaster matchup in Division 2 CCA, but anything can happen here in the reschedule week, and that's a great start off to our set.
Most definitely. I definitely think that Respawn Punisher definitely made a huge difference. Not only just getting those extended respawn timers off of Daybreak, but also just knocking off just enough special off of Daybreak to let them like have them not have their specials ready to try and get for that last minute contention. And pretty much cost them the game at the end right there. So Daybreak has to think about like what they want to try and do going forward to try and see how they want to counteract that Respawn Punisher. You know, maybe trying to pull out potentially a cooler weapon to try and counteract it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that actually too. So you saw them opt for the alternate version of Pencil, and yes, Pencil did get us like nerf in terms of pain for special in that last patch that just came out, but like tactical are still very much a prominent special in our meta, and like especially against Respawn Punisher, which is not at all what I'd be expecting to be saying right here going into game 2. But yeah, but you saw the difference of like just being able to get back in when it comes when it matters most. That last minute, especially with Respawn Punisher being an option, getting splatted in that last minute just seems absolutely deadly. So having Tactical as an option just to be able to get your teammates back in early, that might actually be a great play for Daybreak.
Absolutely, and one thing that might actually make that respawn Punisher work a bit better even here is our next map mode, Tower Control on Manta Maria. Once you get towards the later half of the tower path, it could be very, very dangerous with those picks, so you gotta keep that brush in mind and know exactly where they are so you don't get picked off by them at the wrong time, because once you get picked off by that at the brush, once you get like at that second checkpoint, even watching to the final checkpoint, that's just very dangerous, especially if you're not going to be running Tacticooler.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if we're going to be seeing what options or else we're going to be seeing here. And it's so cool being able to see some of these like weapon diversity like at this point in CCA. Like really, yes, there are very much defined metas that do work, and there are certainly weapons that are better than others, if we're being quite honest. But like it goes to show like Alex on FSU is the only player we know on the scouting report. But the fact that they have this reputation of being an Octo Brush Nouveau with Respawn Punisher, it goes to show how effective that's really been. And we know Daybreak has quite a few great players also on their team and have put on amazing sets, not only this season, but in the seasons past. So it's going to be really cool getting this chance to see what kind of adjustments are being made on both sides here. Still a long set. Also, we know these teams had plenty of warm-up also going into this. So going into Tower Manta Maria for Game 2, it's going to be one heck of a game.
Yes, most definitely. Now, one thing I do want to point out for Daybreak specifically is that they do typically, one of their players are a very like prominent Clash Blaster user. So with the Clash Blaster specifically on this map and mode as well, I am going to probably see that weapon come back around here. There's like so many corners you can hide around. That tower you can just be so annoying with. And as right now we see these teams exactly what they bring out. Not only does the Octobrush come back, but we see that Clash Blaster return. But with the new addition of the Tri-Stringer.
Ooh, new addition of Tri-Stringer. Yeah, I do like that option, honestly, there. Just like a faster anchor, which kind of plays more so in the midline, and I do like this a lot here. Obviously, still not opting... Oh, and also adding some other weapons here. This could be things really interesting for the side. For both teams, really, here. You see both of them just trying to fight off in mid. No one's been making a move towards the tower yet, and for good reason, really. We just saw one player on Daybreak getting splatted there, so it could be making things really interesting as FSU has control of the tower briefly, and now isn't able to push it much forward, but really it's an absolute dogfight in mid as Daybreak goes 3 down.
And as Garnet is already looking to try and push that tower to the first checkpoint, Daybreak are struggling to re-coordinate right now as they use their Tri-Strikes to hopefully try and flush Garnet out, and they managed to get one, a very important one I might add, that Dooley's had Crab Tank ready, which could be detrimental to them, but with them out already this early into this push, it could be the chance to try and stop this from Garnet from getting any more potential points than they possibly could have.
Yeah, and Daybreak converts on multiple pegs. Heartbreak with the Octo shot really just finding so much and leading to that wipe, and that's very good for Daybreak here because you see they have 4 specials online. The Clash activates the Zuka, and there's some strikes gonna be able to come out here as well as a bubble. It's a whale. There's so many specials coming out here. It makes an easy checkpoint being broken, and they're gonna be able to keep rocking with this momentum as the strikes come out, providing that kind of smoke screen and able to get to that first checkpoint and gonna be able to see if they're gonna be able to break past the second checkpoint. If I'm sorry.
Ooh, it is starting to get very dangerous territory for Garnet as Daybreak are marching forward inch by inch, a little bit closer. Daybreak are not letting up yet, as even though they had 2 players down, they're still contesting that tower and making sure Garnet don't have the leeway to just freely push all the way back to mid. And there's just a scramble for specials after specials being used left and right. Both of these teams are struggling to retake neutral as Crab Tank comes out on top of Tacticooler. That Octopus just ended their zip cast. It's madness.
Oh my lord, yeah, we're seeing Alex now on the Octo Brush, really able to put in some work, just trying to find some more picks here. Now FSU has made it past to that checkpoint. The screens of the Ink Strikes are going to be able to put a dent in their push though, and does force them off the tower briefly. FSU once again takes control of the tower though, and this could be good here. We're about halfway through this game, but 2 members of FSU do go down as they are watching a very strong defensive stronghold from the side of Daybreak as they're able to push the tower back, putting it into neutral again. Gotta see how we're going to be able to fight off in mid once again.
And right now, the tempo is completely going to be dictated by Daybreak. As the Octobrush hunting for a pick, but they can't get the pick that they need. As 4 players are still standing strong for Daybreak. Garnet has 1 down, and it looks like Daybreak, they don't want to try and aggress too much right now, as they're just trying to see exactly how Garnet's going to play the rest of this neutral game as strikes go out, especially when getting used. There's picks left and right. A flank by what I can only assume has the dualies in the backline distracting 2 of Daybreak's players.
Yeah, that flank was able to at least buy them some time as FSU has started to march forward here. Still stuck at the 58 though, and you do see them have to fall back very slightly. The crab tank is going to be perched up now and is going to be firing towards that tower though. But the tower itself is moving back into neutral as Breakfast now on this roller. It's doing a lot of work here and able to just keep trying to snake shark around, trying to find a pick here. As you do see, with about 75 seconds to go, Daybreak is in control of the lead here. And with the tower back in neutral, this could be coming down to the wire once again and have a very close ending.
And one thing to point out right now is that Daybreak has that second checkpoint broken, while Garnet does not, meaning that Daybreak has completely free will to try and just control the tempo for the remaining minute of this game. If as long as they have good special coordination and just usage in general, they can stall out Garnet long enough. But we're gonna see exactly how they're gonna play that the rest of this game out, as both teams two down. These teams are desperately trying to keep their hold over one another, but no, as soon as a pick goes out, the other team responds with a pick back, and it's just constant blow for blow right now.
Yes, and we almost see another Zipcaster online here, and this could be dangerous because they does get splatted down now. Now over on the Daybreak POV, just seeing Jawbreaker, Heartbreaker, and a bunch of them just trying to like stall out here. They have 17 seconds to go here. The crab tank from FSU is perched up in mid. Not gonna be able to take too much off though, but FSU has control of the tower once again. You saw what happened in game 1. If you just give them any chance, they will take it here. They'll have 5 seconds to go. I'm not sure if they're gonna have enough here. The tower is being back in Daybreak position. Never mind, it's FSU with 2 down. Not going to be able to take enough of it though, as Daybreak holds on and is able to even up the set at 1 apiece.
A very tight game. Game 2, game 1. These teams are just putting in their all. Even though Garnet is sitting with a 4-0 record right now, once again, Daybreak is showing that they are not willing to let this last set, go to Garnet so easily. They want to at least knock off 1 set from Garnet, take it away as aggressively as they can, and they're gonna be putting in one hell of a fight for the rest of this set.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And now one important thing to note is that while Seminole, Cephalopods, Garnet, Florida State University are 4-0 in the season, a lot of their games, a lot of their sets did go to like game 6, game 7. So they do tend to have this like, they don't get the easy way to like these wins. So it's not a surprise necessarily to see a close set once again. It's just what happens at the end there. So it's gonna be really interesting to see these adaptations now again from these teams going into Rainmaker Sturgeon Shipyard. What could we potentially be seeing here instead?
I mean, with another map like this, I gotta be honest, I don't see that Clash Blaster going anywhere. It's another map that's just filled with ledges and corners and just weird angles that the Clash Blaster specifically can play around of and be so annoying, especially against that Octobrush, which I noticed during that last set too, that the Clash Blaster was doing very well into the Octobrush.
This is the weirdest one-on-one matchup I think I've ever had to commentate for, where we are actually talking about the Octobrush versus Clash Blaster individual weapon matchup, and that is insane to think about, because like, this is, that's the counter pick, I guess, opting for, or at least the matchup counter pick, the player counter pick, knowing that, okay, FSU's one of their best players is rocking the Octobrush with Respawn Punisher, now we have a Clash Blaster available for Daybreak, so, and it's working, especially like you mentioned it before, but with these maps, like these are Clash Blaster maps, which I never thought I would actually be saying here, but I have never complimented the Clash Blaster so much as a weapon until this set.
Yeah, no, as someone who's been watching Daybreak for like not just this last season and the season before, but actually like on my first season doing CCA like 2-3 seasons ago, that Clashmaster is definitely not someone you want to take lightly. They definitely know how to abuse their weapon to the fullest. And if that Octopus, I call it Clashmaster a bit of a knowledge check weapon. So if the Octopus doesn't actually know how to play around that Clashmaster, rocking Respawn Punisher, that might hurt them more than it's gonna hurt Daybreak.
Oh, that's true, and we're once again going in with relatively the same comps here, and you saw a lot of good from both sides here, so I'm really interested to see how we open up. Seeing a nice diverse opening, you see a lot of people pushing on the right side. Daybreak does pop the bubble first as well. No picks off the board yet. Just seeing a lot of positioning. Bubble Breaker now going to be perched up on top. Gonna try and just offer some painting support and try to help Wiz get some extra picks on the side for Daybreak here. Alex is down on the side of FSU, helping to lead Daybreak now. Heartbreak on the Rainmaker now, able to start carrying up. Trying to see if they're going to be able to find a push here with... And now it does look like they might be able to get something going here as they do move over to the right side, but that crab tank just got to come out right from behind cover, and that is a very scary situation, really forcing Heartbreak with the Rainmaker to like get rid of them first, and now they still have it here. This could be a potential good push for them.
It was a scramble for a few seconds there as Daybreak tried to see how far they could push up that Rainmaker, and they almost get that first checkpoint within the 1 minute mark already, but no, Garnet held strong and getting 2 picks in return. This looks like it might be Garnet's turn to respond and just try and get that Rainmaker out of their side of the map and start marching it and rushing it towards Daybreak's side of the map.
Yes, and now we're back on the FSU PKCJ with the crab tank and the Splat Dually now having to get out here, but the Splat Dually rolls are going to be really helpful for them here as FSU has forced Daybreak into a 2-down situation here, and they have control of the Rainmaker. Gonna see what Nana's going to be able to do here, but that roller once again, Breakfast is going to have to force a bit of a retreat, flank around onto the left side here, gonna have a bit of a reroute, but the rest again, the roller just honestly keeping that hunt and eventually getting that pick.
The roller being a shark weapon, doing what it's best, but no, the splat bomb follow-up ensures that Rainmaker just stays there, but the Trizuka in return. These teams are bringing their A game to try and make sure they can not falter one bit. 2 down for Daybreak. Garnet has the advantage right now. What was even that pick from?
Oh my god, I think the Rainmaker shot actually connected, and that is going to lead to the first checkpoint being broken in favor of Florida State. And that's an absolutely wild match so far. We are barely 2 minutes into this game. It does look like Alex on the Octobrush gonna try and find some extra picks here, and also having Zipcaster online potentially soon. But you see, this is already at the 28. What has happened? Just snuck on by with that run, and now with 2.5 minutes left to go, it's a good situation for FSU to be in.
Most definitely, and right now with 28 points remaining, Garnet, Daybreak is at what I like to call a near knockout scenario, where in order to take that Rainmaker, what a pop from Daybreak, a wipeout that could potentially open up that first checkpoint for them. Just already swimming forward, trying to see who's gonna be the one to try and first contest that Rainmaker stop, and the Octopus goes down, another one goes down. This is their bright opening they need right now. What?
That suction bomb was so well placed, though, and you saw that. You saw how many shots these Rainmakers have been in, and the wipe is once again reversed back. Daybreak gets a wipe, now FSU gets a wipe, and this has been one heck of a game so far. We still have 90 seconds to go still. PKCJ has the crab tank ready as well. Gonna be able to offer some long distance support here, but the Rainmaker is going to fall, and this is going to shape up for a really interesting last 80 seconds or so.
That dualies was a bit too slow for the repositioning to get that crab tape properly in place so they can push up further. But now it looks like Daybreak's striking back, getting picks one by one, and as they're trying to contest that Rainmaker and keep it out of Garnet's hand, is right now with the Rainmaker pickup, they're looking to try and march and finally potentially get that checkpoint finally checked out. 1 minute remaining. These teams are desperately trying to see how exactly the other team is gonna play. 2 down for Garnet. Daybreak are just trying to book it potentially to see exactly how long they can hold on for this Rainmaker just a bit longer.
Yes, and now you're watching the Rainmaker timer ticking down to the last 30 seconds or so here too, and it's a very important move. But you see Alex with the Zipcaster coming in, rushing right through, trying to get that last pick now. But this Rainmaker is gonna go down here. There is still time on the clock though. 30 seconds or so is still enough time if you're able to once again secure the Rainmaker. But it really is gonna come down to these last 15 seconds or so. This fight for the Rainmaker is going to be insane.
This is definitely, I feel like this might go into overtime if Daybreak can, this has to go into overtime if Daybreak wants to try and win this game right now, but no, it looks like as the Rainmaker resets, there's 5 seconds remaining, they're out there to try and contest the pop, and it's right now, even though it's pop, the Garnet manages to sneak it from under Daybreak and take this game!
What an ending. What a game, though. You saw what happened, really, where one team gets a run and is able to get so much then, and the other team just responds right back. FSU now up 2-1 in the set. But if these first 3 games have been anything, have told us anything, there really is this. It's really still anyone's game at this point.
Most definitely, Garnet, even though they're sitting at a 4-0 record right now, they have to keep the mentality of not to relax too much and let that potential 5-0 perfect sweep on their end go to waste against Daybreak, who are actively on the hunt to try and at least knock that off from their record to get a small chance of making it into playoffs later on this season. And right now, we're just exactly how that's going to potentially break out as we head on over to Clamblitz on Crablet Capital.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting seeing Clamblitz now being put out here for both these teams, because you've been seeing a lot of great team play options from both sides, and Clamblitz is really a mode where team play shines. And then it's like also relatively a slower map mode combination compared to what we just saw on Rainmaker Surgeon. So it's like nice change of pace here, and I'm really interested to see how these teams approach this type of thing, especially with the recent patch. Now that like Kraken Cheese is like kind of like shifted around a bit, so I'm gonna be really interested to see like what kind of options are being brought out here. I'm wondering if we're even gonna be seeing relative like comp changes, because what we've seen from both sides has been working very well these first 3 games.
And last time I casted for Daybreak, it is a very special cast for me because I remember, I'm not to open up all ones, but I remember a very specific moment from Daybreak on Clamblitz specifically, where they are enjoyers of the one of their players anyways are enjoyers of the heavy smelling deco, which, as you might know, has Kraken, and they are actively trying to use a Kraken to their advantage to try and get these points. And one thing I remember is if you let them up even just a little bit, Daybreak will take that opening and run with it and make sure they're in your base with that Kraken and getting constant points. But there was a small falter on the last match I casted for Daybreak, where they were just a few clams away from victory before ended up just eventually losing it in overtime, which was a very unfortunate moment. But I am looking Daybreak very hard right now to try and see exactly how they might have adjusted a few things to make sure some such mishaps doesn't happen again.
Yeah, exactly. That just sounds like an absolute heartbreak of an ending right there. No pun intended, because I do realize that one of their players is named Heartbreak. Love the tag coordination, by the way, for the side of Daybreak. But it's now, yeah, if we want to see those kind of adjustments happen, really, because like obviously, yes, this is a week 1 reschedule, but if that happened like a while ago, now you have a lot more time to like, okay, adjust, knowing for what's going to happen next time you play in Clamblitz, and especially against a team like FSU, who has been doing really well this season. It's going to be a very necessary like adjustment to be made if they want to like equalize the set and really stay in. Obviously, you don't want to go 3-1 down 3-1, but a comeback is still possible. But hey, if Daybreak is able to equalize this set here on Game 4 Clamblitz Crab Leg, we could be in for a wild last 3 games.
And a wild ride it might actually be, because once again, a bit of a trend here. I still believe that Classmaster could still see like good usage here, since there's a very decent amount of like high-low ground to play around with, which, you know, Classmaster being Classmaster, you can just hide right under that ledge where that can't hit you, but all you have to do is just look up and you can probably get a splat or 2, like just by standing on the ledge. So I still expect that Classmaster to stay. That Octobrush doing absolutely work if it's not completely countered by the Classmaster. So I definitely also expect that Octobrush to stay as well.
If it's not completely countered by the Clash Blaster is a line I never thought I would ever hear. But here we are going into game 4 of this set, and we are going to be diving deep and looking at another potential Octo Brush Clash Blaster rematch. And yeah, we do see the pencil come back
Mm-hmm.
now from both sides,
Mm.
actually. Both of the tactical options here. So this could be really interesting seeing, especially for the side of Daybreak. I think this is their first time having a tactical option.
Oh, most definitely. I believe you're right on that one. And one thing I also do want to point out for Daybreak is, even though I mentioned it earlier while we're waiting for the match to start, no cracking from Daybreak. So either they've learned their lesson and decided not want to risk that anymore, especially given the new adjustments to this special, or they've decided to try and counteract that Alcabrush with their tactical output. But right now, both teams are just going at it in mid, just fighting over neutral, seeing exactly which one will falter first and go off that advantage. Both these teams are struggling to try and make anything of note happen.
Yeah, exactly here. The most important things to look for in the first minute of Clan Blitz is the clam economy. And no team has developed the power clam just yet either. So the Clash Blaster does have 7, could make it very interesting, especially as you see that 2 down on the side of Florida State. And now really just trying to stay alive in this situation. Jawbreaker now having the power clam with the Clash Blaster here could make things very interesting, because there's a lot of clams all in the back to follow up here. Those spells yet to be seen from their side though, as FSU has that crab tank now perched up somewhere and now just firing off into mid. Really, this is a very defensive game so far, as the crab tank does secure the long range pick.
What a lob shot from that crab tank. I didn't know we were playing the tanks game here. As right now, Daybreak, even though they went 1 down, they held on strong. 2 power clams on their side of the map. But no, just got deleted by that Zuka. These teams are just going at it.
Yeah, and that's massive pick. As Comrade is now going to try and force their way in and secure those first points, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do so, as Daybreak is holding a very strong hold in right in their own base. That crab tank is going to get shit down though, and 3 down from the side of Daybreak has led to FSU scoring the first few points, and now kind of trying to see if they can score anything more. You do see a lot of clams being worked in here now, and now they're at the 59 with a basket and a full timer basically. Gotta keep pushing this up. 3 down now. This might be the end of this push from the side of FSU, but after that kind of opening, it's a good start for them at least.
Most definitely. Good. 1 minute, not 1 minute into the game, halfway through this first for the next game right here, that Garnet already bringing the points down to 53, and they're looking like they're trying to want to keep that momentum going in their favor, as Daybreak 2 down already. Crab tank online. Zuka getting a pick from downtown. It looks like they're not giving up just yet.
You know, these long-range picks, whether it be the crab tank, whether it be the rainmaker shot, whether it be Zuka, have been defining this set. As you see that FSU has once again broken the barrier, and again, more long-range picks here to have to see the bomb being thrown at PKCJ to get rid of that crab tank. The penalty is still going to be on the board for FSU, sadly, and there are some clams now being worked around for the side of Daybreak, but PKCJ trying to shark, trying to find off and get shut down by the Clash Blaster, but this could be the start of an opening, as 2 down from the side of FSU. Daybreak looks to potentially make something happen here. Drawbreaker with the Zuka trying to fire some shots and maybe secure a pick of their own and get this opening, but now it's going to be really interesting. As you saw, FSU had the clams. They broke towards the barrier. What just happened?
I wanted to point out the fact that the Octobrush, we haven't seen that Octobrush in a hot minute, and had Zipcaster ready, and I was going to warn that Daybreak, with that Octobrush at the ready with Zipcaster, they are in trouble, and in trouble that they were, as they just got a back cap pretty much off of Daybreak as Garnet. They were trying to stay off a push, but they brought the attention back to their basket, as Daybreak had to go turn around and try and contest it, letting Garnet retake mid and take their hold over mid.
Like, that's so massive here too, especially with 1 minute to go. Like, that was such a massive win there for FSU in neutral, and being able to secure all these picks. They're forced Daybreak into a 3-down situation. It's so difficult for Daybreak to make a comeback here, because look at all the paint control, all the clam control, especially here with 30 seconds to go and a 2 down from the side of Daybreak. Gonna make this very difficult here. As you see, they don't really have any clams to work with here. There's a pity power clam that's now had to start juggling around to really save it here, because now with 20 seconds to go and a long way to get to that basket, the strikes aren't going to be able to secure picks though. This could be big here, but we do need to see some clams really start to work our way around to the side of Daybreak here. He's coming down these last 5, having that cooler now. Here's some movement speed. Now it's going to be, can they make this final push here in overtime?
Overtime clam, this is a very stressful moment, because your overtime timer can range anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 seconds if that clam basket or that power clam gets dropped by any source whatsoever. And right now it looks like it's gonna be a very hard push to try and touch and go in, and they're going for the super jump, and it just might not be enough. No, the buzzer beater saved Garnet from the game as Daybreak just a frame too slow.
The FSU saved by the bell right there, as they have gone up 3-1 in this set. You saw just the defense that Florida State was putting on there. There's the amount of pressure. It made it so difficult for Daybreak to find a way in towards the basket to set up that jump, really. And you couldn't force your way in normally either. So it was like just a defensive masterclass from the end of Florida State. Now Seminole's Cephalopods Garnet has found themselves here at set point as we enter this next game here.
Set point for Garnet. The tensions are pretty much very high for Daybreak right now. I know for a fact that they want to try and at least take this one set over Garnet, bringing them down to 4-1 and getting the boosting up their power to 3-2. Because if they end up going 2-3 here, their season is pretty much, the final nail is in the coffin at that point. So right here, as we head on to Spazzone's Barnacle Dime, they have to really take the time to figure out exactly what they can do to try and keep Garnet at bay. They beat them once before earlier in this set, so they have the power to do it again, but they just have to figure out exactly how they want to do that moving forward.
Yes, and I'm wondering here, what's going through the minds of both these teams right now? Seminole, Cephalopods, Garnet. Obviously, they've been in this situation before. They've been up in their sets multiple times. They have yet to lose a set this season, so it's going to be really good for them seeing how comfortable they are here. But for the side of Daybreak, definitely still comebackable as we look at the recon mode potentially as the stage. It should be funny as heck. But for here, yes, you are down 1-3, and every game is going to basically be maybe the end of your season here. It's a kind of crazy to think about it like that, but really, if you just gotta take it one game at a time here, the mental aspect of Splatoon. I say this every time I cast for CCA because I have a degree in psychology, but it matters so much here, especially when you're facing this adversity down 1-3 in a set. It's going to matter seeing like how do you respond just one game at a time, breaking it down into those smaller aspects here. That might be just what we need for the side of Daybreak as they try to go into this next game, maybe wondering what's gonna be the adjustments here again as we move on here. Splatzone's Barnacle on time.
Yeah, no, I also am a very big advocate for how huge the mental game is for Splatoon specifically, because in competitive esports, the mental is always such a huge part no matter where you go. But I think especially so in a game like this, because there's not only is it team reliant, and as soon as one starts spiraling, you can end up pulling out the others, your other teammates down with you. It's also the fact that sets like these could end up turning out to be a marathon, going down 3-1 already, and that meaning, and if you want to try and stay in this season for it just a little bit longer, that means these next 4 games that you play, 3-4 games you play, have to be perfect. You cannot lose any of them, for if you lose one, that is it. So pressure is up high right now for Daybreak. Garnet, they could be they probably are more relaxed right now, but I for one would know that if I was in their position, I would be sweating it just at least a little bit, knowing from earlier this set they already took 1 game off of us, so taking another isn't actually out of the realm of possibility, meaning that if they end up taking another, they could get that snowball going and things could spiral far beyond their control, and we could see a reverse sweep from going 3-1 to a 3-4 scenario. So they got to be both of them have to be very mindful as we head into our next game.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And really, for the side of Garnet, any win here, winning now would be so good for them. Just to build momentum for their playoff run. We've seen it before, especially with the expanded playoff format in CCA. Teams will go have undefeated regular seasons and then falter in playoffs. So we don't want to see that if you're the side of FSU. But here we are going into game 5. This could be the potential last game of this set in terms of regulation. But gotta see what we have from both sides here, as it does seem to be a lot of the same of what we've been seeing.
Daybreak bringing out their tried and true classic comp with that Clash Masters paired with this tri-stringer, as both teams are now fighting over mid, contesting zone. Daybreak already getting one pick early, and not just any pick, it's that brush down out and early, giving Daybreak the opportunity to go ahead and play as aggressive as you want without fear of getting absolutely punished for getting traded.
Yeah, and that's been a common theme actually this entire set so far, where Alex on the Octobrush has been actually shut down really early. And with Respawn Punisher being a thing and having that drawback, that's actually really big, as you see Daybreak making now a chance to really take control of this game here. The strikes are coming out now from the side of FSU, and you see the Zipcaster actually coming out once again from Alex. Not going to be able to secure too much this time, but it does lead to Garnet being able to control the zone now and now start to work their way back and cut down this lead.
Daybreak having a good hold so far within the first minute of the game. It is now Garnet's turn to try and see exactly how they're going to try and keep Daybreak out of their zone. But no, 2 down already from Garnet. Daybreak instantly flipped the tables from Garnet and already marching in the mid, marching to their side of the map with a wipeout as well. This is big for Daybreak.
Yeah, and with that bubble, especially able to help them spawn back in or offer some defense to really put a ton of pressure on the respawning Garnet. This is very solid for Daybreak right here, as they're able to really secure and work their way up past the zone. You do see some Zuka shots being flown from the side of Garnet. Not sure if it's been able to find its mark though, but now the bubble is once again now in the zone. The zone has lost control and has led to FSU. Garnet able to once again recap. Now gonna give a chance for them to work their way through their penalty, and really this has put them in a Daybreak in a 2-down situation. This could be very strong for Garnet, as their penalties does seem to be going down now.
That Octobrush looking to try and see how they can abuse their weapon ability combo, as 2 are down for Daybreak. Garnet are very much in the high ground right now to keep this momentum going, and this momentum is going and going and going with the wipeout. Garnet takes lead. Daybreak are on the ropes right now as they have 30 points remaining. Daybreak has to get their specials online. They have to figure out exactly get their plans together, or else this could be it.
And that Respawn Punisher really putting a dent in the plans of Daybreak. Now you gotta watch Nico just putting on a ton of pain pressure. The bomb is gonna take them out, but I don't think that's gonna be enough here. As Seminole Cephalopods Garnet, Florida State is gonna win this game and clinch the set 4-1.
A very valiant effort by Daybreak. They had all the tools they needed to try and at least take one more game to stay in the set just for a little bit longer, but Garnet held strong, and especially with that just pivotal Octobrush with the Respawn Punisher, Daybreak, even with that Clash Master being a pretty good matchup into it, just wasn't enough.
Another moment where I didn't think I'd ever hear the Clash Blaster wasn't enough. But, yes, that's been the general theme. That was the recurring theme, the storyline of this set. Clash Blaster versus Octobrush. And in this time, it makes sense why I've heard a lot of propaganda for Alex from Seminole Cephalopods Garnet at Florida State University being potential MVP of this season for Division 2, and I can see why. That Octobrush, the Respawn Punisher, it didn't make sense until you actually saw it in person, I feel. Like, when you saw how many picks they're able to get and how difficult it was for Daybreak to get back in, it really turned so much in favor of FSU, and especially in that last minute, or that last 40 points of the zone, that really put it so much in favor of FSU, and you saw just how much that was able to do there. And congratulations to both teams for putting up an amazing set, but I do think we are going to be able to watch the playoff 7 here at least.
I believe so too, as I'm pretty I think they're talking now, see if they're going through with the playoff 7, and looks like we will be going through as we head on to Tower Control and Hagglefish Market. That is the next, at least that is the next quote-unquote game set up for this set. But one thing I also do want to point out, to go back a bit about the Octopus with Respawn Punisher, is I mentioned this earlier, but an aspect of the Respawn Punisher is the fact that there's also a special penalty whenever he gets batted off it. I believe you lose 60% of your special rather than the standard 50 from getting after being killed by any normal weapon versus Respawn Punisher. So that 60% could have actually made the difference of getting those like last minute scrambled specials from Daybreak to try and recontest like those like tight like sub 1 minute pushes, which gave Garnet enough time to just keep their hold strong and not allow Daybreak from pushing back in.
Yeah, and that's like really been like, you saw the effects of that basically the entire set here from FSU, honestly, having that Respawn Punisher. I never thought I would see Respawn Punisher on our front line work as well as it did, especially with like how much of a gamble it really feels, because like if their player isn't playing like decently well at that point, it really is a drawback to have Respawn Punisher, especially in the front line, where if you die, you are gone for a long time in comparison to like everyone else. But like when it works, yeah, that gamble really does pay off here. And I'm wondering, going into the playoff 7, I'm excited to see, are we going to be seeing more Respawn Punisher? Are we going to be seeing more Clash Blaster? Like, what the potential matchups here are really interesting. It's my favorite thing about the playoff 7, honestly.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a very mixed grab bag of like what you can see out of the remaining matches of the set from your playoff 7. Do these teams choose to at least keep the competitive attitude and play like their like actual team comp, or do they want to try and decompress and just switch to their main / comfort weapons? Because some players actually, the weapons they play a lot of time for competitive scenes aren't actually those their main weapons. They're just weapons that they kind of have to pick up in order to adjust to what their team wants to do. Or do they go for like a meme team? Like I know one time I remember seeing one team for the playoff 7, they done like quad undercover umbrellas.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing that. And I remember losing my mind the entire time I was casting that. And I was like, what is happening? But yeah, sometimes it's the mixed bag. And it's the absolute gamble of like, okay, are we going to be playing actual serious games here where it's like everything really matters? Especially because we got 2 games now. 2 games. We have Game 6 and Game 7 still. Are we going to be doing these fun things here? Are we going to be going more serious? It's like really interesting because like if you're Florida State, okay, we still have playoffs coming. We still have a season here. Are we going to be using this as like a tune-up, or are we using this as like a relaxer, as a way to like calm ourselves, like a chill way to end our regular season before we go into playoffs? For Daybreak, it's the end of the season here. How do you want to end the season? It's gonna be interesting to see what both these teams bring out here, and I'm gonna hopefully maybe see a crazy surprise at this point.
Most definitely, as we see a few surprises actually. Wow.
Whoa.
That is a complete comp change up from Garnet's side. I will say Not has been seeing a little bit of an uptick recently as players. I think Not is more of a skill based weapon, meaning if you're really good with Not, you see huge success with it, but it is also very like dependent on how you play that weapon. So already, unfortunately, that Not was one of the first picks to go off of Garnet's side, and Daybreak are already marching forward with that momentum, getting another 2 picks off of that.
The Daybreak is having an absolutely great time knowing there is not an Octobrush they have to worry about, as Daybreak has now found themselves at that check. Gonna potentially break through that check. It's gonna stall a bit longer. No, they eventually do get past checkpoint 1, and they are gonna march their way towards the 56, maybe even past the 50 here. Not a lot of players are going down on either side here. Just watching then on the 52, just trying to secure some stuff, as Garnet has found themselves back onto the tower and now trying to work their way into mid and now work their way to get some points of themselves.
Both teams are resetting back to neutrals as They each got one pick each. These teams are actively hunting, seeing exactly who's gonna be the next one to falter. And it looks like Daybreak was the next one to falter as 2 more of their players go down. Garnet having the opening right now to just cruise that tower to the first checkpoint, but no, the roller from the flank gets a triple.
The triple, and then having that bubble. Oh, man, they're just gonna keep on going here, getting these picks. Round of applause for breakfast. I don't care if it's like basically dinner time now. It's breakfast all day here. Just trying to gain those picks, and now just absolutely amazing stuff for Daybreak. As now they are 2 down in this situation, but that is able to give them some cushion as they're able to just keep getting these picks as well. And now with 2 minutes down, we're at the 3 minutes to go point. This has been a very tight game so far, as Garnet has now maybe be working their way towards that checkpoint, and they are at it now. Gotta try and break it.
I will say that now that Octopus isn't around, I believe the roller actually now has more free reign to just wander the map, since both weapons typically go in a more sharking, just flanking route. So, and in a 1v1 scenario like that, it's completely a toss-up which one will win on Octopus versus the roller. But right now, Daybreak, a beautiful Zuka, and one thing I'm also barely noticing too is that Daybreak has a nozzle nose on their team.
Yeah, the nozzle nose pick. It was also something that caught my eye, and I was like, okay, they swapped out basically the splat toolies for the nozzle nose because they both have crab tank, and hey, I guess it is working here. It's a very tight game, 50 to 56 on both sides here. We might be seeing the crab tank in place soon as it is online, and now with the tower moving in favor of Daybreak, the crab tank does come out here. There's a lot of them of Seminole Garnet bunched up, and you see 3 go down back there. This is looking very good for Daybreak as they have worked their way towards the 51. They are going to be able to take the lead here, and this is looking very strong for them as they march towards this next checkpoint potentially here, but they are going to get wiped out instead as Seminole Cephalopods, Garnet, Florida State University have moved up, had those tactical air buffs, and this is going to shape up for a very intense 90 seconds.
90 seconds remaining indeed. These teams, Daybreak, got the opening they needed and ended up taking lead, but before Garnet just responded back with a massive hit of their own, getting a wipeout almost instantly, and now Garnet is looking back to try and at least contest that second checkpoint, or potentially even just take lead, but Crab Tank comes out, hoping not to stall this. What?
What? Okay. What did we just see? We just saw the Crab Tank push the player off. Heartbreak just pushed, I think, Nico off of the tower. That's a matchup I don't think I ever thought I would see. That's a mechanic of the Crab Tank you don't exactly see all the time, where I'm gonna use the actual tank aspect, and we don't even need to start firing shots, and we're just gonna push you off the tower. But now with 30 seconds to go, it's working wonders for Daybreak, because now they have Bazooka online, and 2 down for the side of FSU. This could be very good as Jawbreaker finds another pick, has the Zuka still, and with these 20 seconds, we could be seeing in for some great pressure here.
Most definitely. As Daybreak has lead right now, they can actually set the tempo for the this last 10 seconds of the game, as Garnet taking control of tower, or to try and get this game into an overtime scenarios. 1 goes down, Daybreak are on the back foot, 2 go down for Daybreak. Garnet you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they're just gonna keep on marching forward as Daybreak has to scramble to try and stop them now, but no, 2 goes down. Both these teams are contesting the tower. It's a fight for tower, and it's like Garnet has to win the fight, and just like that, the save by Daybreak. Oh,
that last 5-10 seconds right there, where you just saw everyone on the tower rushing in, trying to just fight off there. That was absolute insanity, but the roller once again coming through, able to secure that in favor of Daybreak here in Game 6 of the Play All 7.
That scramble was... I had a feeling that there was going to be a bit of a scramble there. I did not expect the scramble to be that extensive right there. It was just absolute carnage on that tower. Well done by Daybreak and Garnet. Both teams are doing extraordinarily well as they go on to this playoff 7. But as we head into our 7th match of the set, our final game, we're going to be ending it all on Rainmaker's Scorch Gorge.
Now, we saw what happened on Rainmaker Sturgeon earlier in the set, and that was one of the best games I've seen in a long time in CCA, just individually. And now, if Scorch Gorge, very common Rainmaker map still nowadays, even after the years. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams approach it, especially in a playoff 7 where the typical game plans are kind of thrown out the window. I'm wondering, what are we going to be seeing here? Sometimes we see some like brilliant gameplay, and sometimes we will see maybe we'll see more Clash Blaster, maybe we'll see like, oh well, maybe FSU will be like, okay, we'll just all play Octobrush at this point. So I have no idea what to expect going into the last game of this playoff 7, especially knowing that Daybreak, this is their last game of the season. FSU, this is the last game until they go to playoffs, so this is gonna be potentially really fun here.
And one thing I do want to point out that for Garnet, this could actually be the opportunity for them to like maybe test out like that one comp they weren't unsure of, or just a few like weapon changes up to see exactly how it's going to play out. Because we mentioned earlier in this set that there was a patch earlier this week, and people are still trying to figure out a few things. There are a few surprise changes that like came in that like may not shake up a few things dramatically, but it might be enough of a difference to like make things a little bit more valuable. One thing to know is that the fact that the Splatter Shot Pro got a bit of a damage buff. For me specifically, I'm a blaster player, and so when I saw that the S-Blast got its long range shot, that AoE shot, got a bit of a size buff. I think that's a very much needed buff, but we're gonna see exactly how that ends up playing out.
Honestly, this is gonna be interesting to see how that matchup actually shakes up here, and like, honestly, I don't even know what to like expect here, but I think we could be seeing some amazing stuff, honestly, from both sides. Going into this game 7, like we talked about this multiple times, like there's a lot that could potentially be happening here, especially in Rainmaker Scorch Gorge, and really Rainmaker in general, we've seen both these teams shine in this kind of situation. I'm excited for what we could be having here, and what's potentially, what will be the last game for some of these, for Daybreak, and in the last game for playoffs for Garnet. Honestly, going into this should be an absolute fun game.
Yeah, fun is the. I want to say not. I don't want to have the exact word for it, but I want to say is the standard for a lot of these things. If you're playing a game like this and you're not having fun, it tends to affect how you actually perform. Most people don't realize. So it is very important that you as a player have fun with this game no matter what. Because if you don't have fun and you just end up becoming miserable over time, why are you still playing this game? You know. So it's a very important reminder here as part of the playoff 7 for sportsmanship reasons as well, just to sort of just learn that you can also have fun, because fun is very important.
Fun is very important. Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
another new classic option. Oh, well, other Clash Blaster now too. A Dreadringer as well. This is some interesting options being seen here, and we do get to see some, the return of the Octobrush also. So this is going to be a very fun matchup here, as we do see the bubble already being popped. Daybreak losing one member. Ballbreaker now just trying to do what they can to secure stuff, but eventually getting marked down and picked out, as Garnet has control of the Rainmaker very briefly, as a bunch of players are going down now.
That roller putting in work just as they've always done this set so far. Just keep denying that initial push from Garnet. Daybreak now have the opportunity to at least keep this push in contention. That Clash Master doing Clash Master things and completely denying this push was a wipeout. What a play!
They're absolutely amazing plays going on right here, as Daybreak looks like they're going to be able to get the lead right through that checkpoint, and setting up for a very good situation here. The whale coming out, really making things difficult for Garnet to break that bubble. Also, a couple members going down on each side. The bubble is broken by Garnet, though. And a flood of orange, but never mind. You do see quite a few things happen right there, as multiple people down in that situation. And this could be a very interesting game here, as we are only about like 80 seconds in.
both teams elect to reset back to neutral to see exactly how they're going to be trying to get their next pushes going. These teams, Daybreak, have that first checkpoint down, so they have the temples control right now in order, as well as the lead control right now in order to try and stall out Garnet for as long as they can if they want to go that route. But with how things have been going, it can still go either way. A 10-point difference means nothing in a game like this, because once these teams get a little bit of an edge, they can end up going a mile with it. And as 2 goes down for Garnet already, Daybreak has the opportunity to actually try and take that mile right now.
Yeah, this could be big for them right here, but multiple members going down for the side of Garnet. It was a brief 3-down situation, and now this is looked very interesting here, as now the Rainmaker is in control for Daybreak, trying to move on up, trying to push forward here. They have the Reef Slider option available. It does pop out, not going to be able to do much though, as 3 down. That'll go from the end of Daybreak. Only the Clash Blaster left standing so far. Garnet is going to be able to pop the bubble, move forward, and this is going to look like a potential good push for them. Still need to break that checkpoint, everything, but now Zipcaster once again coming out from Alex with the Octo Burst, going to get shut down though, as 2 down on the side of Garnet and the Rainmaker falling in the process.
Rivaled weapons faded to me again and again. That Clash Blaster and Octo Burst keep going at it, getting these trades one after another. And right now, it seems that the Clash Blaster just doing Clash Blaster things by being annoying, by constantly throwing out these curling bombs. Both these teams are fighting over mid, trying to get that neutral control as best as they can. As 1 goes down for Garnet, Daybreak pops the Rainmaker shield, and with Reef Slider, it looks like this might be the opportunity for them to actually try and extend that lead that they got earlier.
Yeah, if they can extend that lead, that would be clutch for them. Now Daybreak is trying to do what they can to just keep on the pressure here, and really having trying to find all these picks, finding multiple in the process, putting Garnet in a 2-down situation here. And really, there's the mile that you've been mentioning, because there's the last push here, take it all the way towards the 21. Gonna get stuffed out in that alley basically, and now this is gonna be put Garnet in a very peculiar situation where they still have that checkpoint to be broken, and they're all dying really close to that last podium.
That Clash Master does not know when to give up, constantly getting on the aggression to try and see how many picks they can get away with before they get shut down. The final minute of this playoff 7, we're going to see exactly how this game is going to end, as 2 are down for Daybreak, but not without their own picks. Almost a 3rd pick. Tactical is out. This could a near knockout scenario, as what I like to call it right now, as in order for Garnet to try and take this game, or at least get to 20 points, they might as well have the opening to get that final knockout.
Yes, it's being able to find that opening, create that opening is going to be clutch for them here, but you also see that Garnet is now struggling to really make that opening themselves. With 25 seconds to go, they have the Rainmaker. It's being ran by Nico right now, firing off towards the right side, not being able to secure anything though, as it does see a lot of Daybreak making their way in, and the Whale eventually does shut down the Rainmaker. 3-down situation, as well as Daybreak looks to have the Rainmaker. They're going to be able to stay secure in the bubble, and a lot of players are just going to be able to kind of protect them around, and it does look like Daybreak will secure this next win in the playoff 7.
Oh, a valiant effort from Garnet, but it just wasn't quite enough to go again, to try and get this final game off of Daybreak. And even though it doesn't mean anything, they are going home knowing fully well that if this did go to a Game 7, Daybreak potentially could have actually taken the set from Garnet.
Yeah, amazing stuff we've seen throughout the main set and throughout the playoff 7 from both teams. Really, that was one of the most phenomenal sets I've seen in a while here. We really just saw a lot of high-level play from these teams with a lot of weapon diversity too, and that's really the beauty, I think, of CCA, where sometimes you will get a bit more of like the scuffed up gameplay, but you really see the shining moments of like certain like decisions being made, especially things like the weapon choices, the meta choices there. That's going to be really fun there. But I think that will be it for us too here on CCA. Dark, where can we find you?
Oh, well, you can find me both on Twitter and Twitch at SPF_dark, where I repost a bunch of random nonsense. I stream from time to time if my schedule aligns itself with it. Just a random assortment of games, Monster Hunter, just whatever is on my mind. But Spicy, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at 2SpicyBM. You can also find me at Twitch, twitch.tv/spicy_BM. I told myself I was going to actually stream this summer because I do have a capture card. But let's see if that actually happens. Maybe I'll stream Splatoon. Maybe I'll start streaming some other things instead. But hopefully I see you guys around there. But that's going to be it for us here. But stay tuned because in a few hours, we do have 2 more games for CCA. So you don't want to miss either of those.